Well, welcome back to the Big Wide Ocean video series. In the first video, we looked at how to confront the brutal reality of being in business. And in the second video, we looked at what is the personality of a business owner or an entrepreneur. In this third and final video of the first chapter, we'll be looking at have you got your timing right for launching your business or your product. So I really hope that you enjoy this video.
Chapter 1. Look before you leap. Is your timing right? Full of expectation of what lies ahead in your quest for freedom, you jump and then splat. You land face down with sand up your nose. As you look up, you realize that while you were deliberating whether to jump or not, the tide went out. Sometimes the reason for business failure is simply that the business owner gets the timing wrong. That can happen in one or two ways. Either the business owner jumps too soon or leaves it too late. Both can be disastrous for the business. There are a lot of factors to be taken into account when considering when to launch your business. Some could be business or economy related, others may just be personal. All are as important as the others. So have you jumped too soon? Jumping too soon is like diving as the tide is starting to come in. Essentially, you adopt the position of the pioneer, the business owner who sets out in business to introduce the world to a completely new concept, product or idea for which there is no existing market. Unfortunately, pioneers must work hard to become market leaders. That's because pioneers have to invest a lot of time and money converting the marketplace to their concept before they are able to sell their product or service. So essentially, they have two sales to make. First, they sell the idea, and second, they sell their product or service, which encapsulates that idea. Where pioneers go wrong is that they invest all their time and money selling the idea, then just when the market grasps the idea and is ready to buy their product or service, someone else comes along, improves the product or service a little, then captures the market. This competitor hasn't had to invest any money or time in selling the idea. They have let the pioneer do that. All the competitor has to do is invest their resources into copying and then improving upon the pioneer's product or service. In fact, sometimes the competitor doesn't even need to do that. They just spend more money on marketing and advertising to capture the market. Essentially, a competitor leverages off the hard work of the pioneer whose cash reserves are starting to run dry. There is no more frustrating experience for the pioneer business owner to see someone steal the market he or she worked so hard to attract. Of course, that's not to say that the pioneer business owner can't be successful, but he or she needs to understand that it's going to take some time for the tide to come in. And whilst it is coming in, people will jump into the water with you. So if you are determined to be a pioneer, jump into the water with your eyes open. It could be a long wait before there is plenty of water to swim about in, and when there is, make sure that you are ready to take on the competition. The strategies in this book will make sure that you have a robust business structure to take on that competition when it arrives. So don't leave it too late to jump either. At the other end of the scale is the business owner who hesitates and then jumps into the water when the tide is going out. In this case, there is an existing need for the product or service offered by the business owner, but the need is waning, either because there is too much competition or the need for the product or service itself is waning. For example, it would be a foolish person who decides to go into business as an encyclopedia salesman. Encyclopedias have been overtaken by the internet and Google and the ease of seeking information using sophisticated search engine tools. The tide has virtually gone out on encyclopedias, but we probably yet haven't seen all the internet has to offer us. So an innovation in the marketplace may affect the viability of your business. Other things could include the nature of the economy, insufficient demand, or an overpopulated competition. Whatever the case, you will need to find a real point of difference which will make you stand out from the competition if you want to become successful in an overpopulated market. You're only going to find that point of difference by doing your research on the market before you jump. Only by doing your research and then coming up with a robust marketing strategy will you be going into business with your eyes open. Find out who your competition is. Identify their strengths and weaknesses, pinpoint exactly who your target market is or could be, and how many people or businesses it comprises. Identify with as much precision as possible what their need is and how your product or service solves that need. If the equation doesn't add up to a successful business, either find another ocean or stay on the pier. Otherwise, if you don't do your research, you could end up falling flat on your face. But remember, you must balance your need to do research with the imperative to jump into the ocean before the tide goes out completely. Then consider your personal life. Business factors aren't the only timing issues you need to think about. Market forces may be right, but if you are not in the right place in your own life, then things just won't work out. Generally, if someone is thinking about setting up a business, there will be something in their personal life which has triggered them to investigate that option, but not always. Sometimes the decision will be forced upon you. For example, you may have been made redundant, or market forces may be giving you only a small window of opportunity to launch your product or service. In these situations, a double check with your personal life is strongly recommended. The key issue when it comes to personal timing is money. Setting up any business is going to involve hard work and money in varying degrees. If you have very little money, expect to work harder because you won't be able to hire talent. Growth could be slow, particularly if you have to fund that growth through cash flow. The biggest problem in the early days of setting up a business is that it is difficult to work hard and remain focused when all you are thinking about is money. This worry slows down business growth even further and makes the cash problem even worse. Ultimately, you will need to make personal sacrifices. Now that's okay if it's just about you, but if other people are relying upon you to be the breadwinner, then the stress and tension is going to rise, which in turn will affect the business even further. So consider whether this is the right time in your life to be undertaking this journey. Would things be easier if you waited a year or two? If you waited, could you accumulate some cash reserves which may ease the first few years of trading? Alternatively, some of your dependents may become less dependent over that period, leaving you free to invest your money elsewhere. Now, the only answer to these questions is to speak to those who are likely to support you. What do they think? Are they supportive? If they are not supportive, assess how much you need their support and the likely effect if you go ahead regardless. If you go ahead, Chapter 5 teaches you strategies for improving cash flow. So should you listen to everybody? Well, here's a word of warning. When you speak to people about your plans to go into business, be selective about the advice you take on board. That is because everyone has a different tolerance to risk. For example, there are some people who would never go overseas because they will not fly, despite air travel being one of the safest forms of transport. There are others whose idea of a good weekend is throwing themselves off cliffs. Then there are the majority of people in between. As a business owner and entrepreneur, you need to take calculated risks which put you outside of your comfort zone. So when you receive advice, don't only assess the advice you receive, but also the risk profile of the person giving that advice. Many of your family will have a low tolerance to risk. Alternatively, they may be giving good advice. You will need to assess which side of the line they fall. The best people to take advice from are actually other successful business owners who have already jumped off the pier and made their way through the big wide ocean. I have not met one successful business owner who doesn't advocate going into business, and after all, why wouldn't they? The key is finding out how they became successful. All will have developed robust business structures, and that's what this video series and book teaches. So are you ready to take the leap? Congratulations, you've made it to the end of Chapter 1, and hopefully your enthusiasm for business is still intact. Now let's take a closer look at what lies beneath the ocean so that you are equipped with strategies to build a successful business. The rest of this video series will give you the opportunity to experience the big wide ocean without getting wet. You can hang your hand over the side and test the temperature before you leap in. What's more, it will give you strategies for dealing with the perils beneath the ocean which you may encounter along the way so that you'll be better equipped to build a successful business. So whether you're standing on the pier ready to jump in or you are already in the water, hop on board as we take a journey out into the big wide ocean.
So that video concluded the third video in the first chapter of Big Wide Ocean, Look Before You Leap. We looked at confronting the brutal reality of being in business, the personality of a business owner and entrepreneur, and we also looked at your business timing. In the next chapter, we'll be looking at how to shark-proof your business. So if you're enjoying this video series, we'd encourage you to like our Facebook page, maybe give us some feedback on that page, and preferably please share this video with your friends and family. So stay tuned for the next chapter, how to shark-proof your business.